All too often, new folks getting into Airbnb arbitrage and co-hosting get analysis paralysis on where they should launch their business. They ask me things like, Vince, what city makes the most money? Or Vince, what do I do if my market has regulations? Or Vince, where is the highest revenue opportunity? Don't worry guys, in this video, I'm gonna answer those questions and give you the 3 key metrics to choosing your perfect market to start your Airbnb arbitrage or co-hosting business with specific examples. My name is Vince and my business partner and I launched an Airbnb arbitrage and co-hosting portfolio that we quickly scaled in 1 year, reaching over $500,000 in revenue while working full-time jobs. It's now totally automated, so we live our lives while it makes money. Now we help others like yourself to do the same thing. If you stay until the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can get a step-by-step course on how to build your own 6-figure automated Airbnb business totally free. So let's dive in. The first metric for your perfect Airbnb market is proximity. Let me explain. So this video is all about how to find your perfect market. And I say your market because in order for you to have the highest likelihood of success, you need a market that's specific to you. So we actually recommend that you start your Airbnb business in either your hometown or your home state. Now, if you can't, I'll give you some alternative options, but here are 3 reasons why your hometown or home state are the best place to start. Reason 1 is opportunity is everywhere. You don't need to be in a metro area. You don't need to be in a vacation rental town, and you certainly don't need to find the secret gold mine city. It does not exist. You don't need to be in a hot market to be profitable either. What you do need is to do the research in the market on what types of properties do really well in that market. I'll explain some ways to do this in this video, but a good property is much more important than a good market. Reason 2 is your city likely has a lot of reasons for short-term rental bookings as well. So think about this. Things like colleges, that means you have family visiting or even student housing. You might have hospitals in your area, so that leaves rooms for travel nurses or family visiting family. You might have businesses there, so that leaves room for corporate travelers and other people visiting or business events. Or you might have attractions and experiences, so things like amusement parks, sporting events. You might have festivals in your area. There are a lot of reasons people might be visiting your town that you were not thinking of originally. So really think about this. Your city might have a lot more revenue opportunity than you think. And reason number 3 is when starting out, you'll likely need to visit the property physically when you're doing your property tours and your initial property setup. This is obviously much easier when you're local. And if I were to tell you that the city to go to was Dallas, Texas, only a small percentage of you would actually take action and get started because the city's so far away. You don't need to do that. You don't need to chase some secret El Dorado city for income. You can find it in almost every single city, and there are a lot of cities in the country if you didn't know. So if you don't believe me, let me give you a case study for an example. So we have properties in all types of markets, vacation rental properties in major cities, but believe it or not, our consistently most profitable, most successful property is in a no-name town of Pennsylvania. It's in a city you would never expect to do well. Now, why? Because we did the research and recognized that that property was the perfect fit for what that market demanded. It's not extravagant. We just found the opportunity and the formula that works in that market, and it worked. Simple. Now, we're going to talk more about regulations and restrictions, but let's just say your market has these ridiculous regulations that prohibit you from doing this, or your town is so small that there's no revenue opportunity. Here are 3 things you can do to find alternative markets. First, what other markets are within driving distance to me? What major cities are within 4 to 5 hours to me? This would obviously allow you to physically go to these properties and go through the scouting process and the setup process. The second question you can ask is, what markets do I have friends or family in? Having family or friends or people that you trust in another city, they can go do the property tours for you, and this would save you a visit and allow you to start your business from afar. Some of our most successful students actually live in Portugal, and they use their family members in Myrtle Beach to scout properties for them, and they launched their business from afar that way too. So that was really cool. And finally, the third question you can ask is, what market would I enjoy traveling to? If none of the above suggestions work, what market would you get excited about going to? This will keep you motivated for starting your business. Let me give you one more case study. So we were getting started. We actually felt our hometown was a little bit limited as well. So we chose a major city about 5 hours away from us. So we drive out there on a Friday night, stay in an Airbnb, spend all day Saturday touring properties. Then we'd come home, close a few deals, and then go back out 2 weeks later to actually do the setup of the property. Just in that city alone, we set up 16 properties doing just exactly what I told you. There's no excuses, guys. If you want to make it work, you'll make it work. By the way, just a side note, guys, not long ago, I released a video on the top 10 cities to start Airbnb in 2024 in based on supply and demand data. I just want to note that this doesn't really help you if you live nowhere near these cities. And all of this revenue data means nothing if you launch a crappy property. So the secret gold mine city, it does not exist. Yes, the data looked good for these cities, but don't go crazy out of your way to find something that was on that list when you probably have opportunity in your backyard. Now, the second key metric for your perfect Airbnb market is regulations. So before settling on any market, it's very important to understand the restrictions. So here are 2 ways that I do this. Now, the first is by Googling your city short-term rental regulations. Here, you'll usually find a .gov website, which will usually lay out everything. Now, sometimes this is full of crazy legal jargon and it's hard to understand. So if that's the case, then proceed to the second option, which is Google your city name and Airbnb regulations. This might actually take you to an Airbnb help center page, and this will often walk you through the steps to launch an Airbnb in that city, along with the restrictions. Airbnb has a vested interest in you launching a property, so they're going to kind of handhold you throughout the process on that page, which is why I think it's really valuable. Now, if you still can't figure it out, just pick up the phone, call the town, and ask for some clarification. Say, hey, I'm a short-term rental business, and I want to make sure I follow all the rules. Can you just please walk me through this stuff? Okay, so what if my city has regulations? Now, guys, we could make an entire video on this topic, but I'm going to give you a simple framework to help you make decisions more quickly. So here's my Airbnb restrictions framework for deciding a market. First, I ask, does the city allow arbitrage? Meaning, can I list a property if I am not the owner of the property? If the answer is yes, even if that means I just need a permit to do it, then I will proceed with the market. This usually means that competition would be lower as well, since they don't want to go through that process. So this actually leaves opportunity for me. Just go through the permit process and get started. Now, if the city does not allow arbitrage, meaning you can't list a property unless you're the property owner, then you have 2 options. The first is simply just co-host. That means that you have the owner list the property and you are listed as a secondary host on Airbnb. This is actually allowed in many more markets that arbitrage is not allowed. And the second option is if it's really that difficult and you need to have the owner be their primary residence and they need to be there on site and all this other stuff, then just go to another market using the suggestions I gave you earlier in the video. Don't let regulations be a hindrance to you. Find out how to operate legally and then move forward. You can always connect to other hosts in that market and offer to pay them just to learn how they got started in that market if you are really that stuck. So the third and final key metric to finding your perfect Airbnb market is identifying revenue opportunity. Now we just need to figure out who is making money in our market and what sort of revenue we can expect. This could also be an entire video in and of itself, and I probably will make something more detailed on this, but I will give you another simple formula you can use to at least get started. There are several softwares out there to help you with this, but we like AirDNA. Now, not everything on AirDNA is accurate, and maybe I'll make a whole nother video on how to weed out inaccurate data, but there are some things on it that can help you, and please do not use the rentalizer, for the love of God. So one of the first things I like to do is see who is at the top. Whether you're targeting apartments or you're targeting houses, simply go to AirDNA and narrow it down by the types of properties you're targeting. Now we want to sort the listings by the highest revenue properties. This will give us a good understanding of who is successful. Study these listings. What's the location? What's the size? What amenities do they offer? What part of town are they in? What's the interior design like? What is the renovation style like of the house? By understanding all of this, you now have a formula on what is successful in this market and what makes money. This is the recipe for a top property. Now, there are plenty of other methods of getting more revenue data, but this is the simplest way to start and get a feel for how you can come out swinging. And that's it, guys. If you're looking for a step-by-step guide on how you can build your own 6-figure Airbnb arbitrage or co-hosting business, join us on School. We walk you through everything from finding properties to pitching landlords, and we even host live events where you get thousands of dollars of coaching for free. The link is in the description below. We also post a ton of valuable videos here on our YouTube, like this one explaining how you can land your first arbitrage property in 1 month with our outreach methods. So please like and subscribe if you want more content like this. If you have any other questions, feel free to add me on Instagram and just shoot me a DM. I hope this helps you on your journey. Peace.